Hello, welcome to another Daily Digest video. I'm Merriam. Today I'm playing a black-white Smallpox or Pox deck. Although this one's a little bit different than the lists I've seen over the last year or two. Fewer Planeswalkers, although still a healthy number, and a heavier emphasis on mana denial. We've got even Mind Sensor to stop opposing fetch lands, and a couple made copies of Fulminator Mage as well. So more LD and still the same disruption package, still have Lingering Souls, which is great for Smallpox. Fortunately, we have no lands in this hand, so send it back. And this hand looks pretty good. Unfortunately, at turn 2 Smallpox means we can't Fulminator Mage on 3. That might cause me to rethink it, but we'll see what our opponent's deck is. If they're like a mana creature deck, we can definitely get good value out of the Pox on turn 2. But this is a keep no matter what. We'll just have to figure out how we want to play it. The other awkward part is that if I want to Inquisition on turn 1, I have to use my fetch land, so I can't draw this Lingering Souls, which I rather like. So I could slow myself down by a turn here, like Inquisition on turn 2, Smallpox on turn 3, maybe just Pox on turn 2. The only thing I'd really want to take with this Inquisition is an opposing discard spell. If they normally your turn 1 Inquisition likes taking a mana creature, but with Smallpox in hand and being on the play, it doesn't. This is tough, especially when I don't know the matchup. I think I'm going to keep the Lingering Souls because no matter what, it's going to be really good. I think improving my first draw step is worth not having Inquisition on 1. So just lead on this Chapel. This could also lead to me Inquisitioning on 1, on 2, Fulminator Maging on 3, and then cleaning up with the Smallpox. Not the best use of the Smallpox, but maybe the best use of my hand. Ooh, I like green fetch land. I like a green fetch land. No, I don't like this. Not green land, no. Well, this is the worst case scenario, but in this scenario, when our opponent's playing a Thoughtseize deck, like Lee Mardu here, Lingering Souls is one of our best cards, so that was another reason that I made the play that I made. So we sort of get paid off even in the worst case scenario. And like these discard spells will just trade there in this. Okay, they take the Smallpox. That's fine. Now we will see what is up with them. Hopefully we'll get to take like a Young Pyromancer here. That is a card my hand does not answer very well. Ooh. Oh, wow. We got really punished, actually. Okay. Our opponent is playing Thoughtseize out of a deck that we would have really liked to take that Thoughtseize. Because the Smallpox against a one-lander is obviously awesome. Though we do have Fulminator, so... because we have Fulminator Mage for next turn, I think my plan is going to be to take Monastery Swift Spear. They could draw a fetch land and be able to play 2 Death Shadows, which would be bad for us. But say I take a Death Shadow and they draw a fetch land, they'll probably just play Nikotl Death Shadow, which is still bad. I think my best plan is going to be to try to buy a lot of time here. Take this Swift Spear, hope that they don't draw a land. They can't really cast a spell at that point. Death Shadows won't live. Removal spells don't have targets. Wild Nikotl they don't have green mana for. So I think I'm just going to take the Swift Spear because I'm going to need some time here with this hand. My Lingering Souls also isn't great here. This might be the most punished I could have possibly been for making the play that I made. Because Lingering Souls is not that good against this deck. All their creatures are pretty big. If I can keep their creatures off the battlefield, then Souls will be good. But yeah, this was awkward. Okay, still going to take the Swift Spear and I guess just play Marsh Flats. And this is our key turn. Do we get to mana screw them or fall very far behind? And they're not acting very quickly. Ah, they drew it. It's probably good. They could either get green white or green black here. Green white would fully power up the Wild Nicotl. They're getting green black. Playing both shadows, okay. Well, this went as badly as possible. If we had taken that Thoughtseize, they'd also be at 2 more life. I guess 1 more life because we would have poxed, so which is relevant. Okay. Definitely playing Fulminator here, given that they're. The awkward part is that I don't want to give them a target for Dismember, because that'll pump the shadows significantly. They might end up just bolting themselves here, but that's not the worst. I'm going to try to buy a ton of time with Lingering Souls, I guess. But we're definitely going to play Fulminator and just blow up the Overgrown Tomb right here. This is why I think given that they knew about Fulminator, I think they probably should have played the green spell, because they can play Death Shadow with either of these lands. Not the best to be using an LD spell against an opponent who's ahead on board, but it does lock a card out of their hand. See if they want to use the bolt on themselves to... Ugh. Well, this isn't good. We might just be dead. I guess they didn't have a target for Dismember. They could have brought themselves to 2, but they'd have to Dismember a Shadow. Shadows, so 1 would be an 11/11, and 1 would be a 6/6. So they had 17 here. But yeah, we're pretty dead. Just needed our opponent to miss once. Now I don't even know what we can draw. Like they have Dismember here for, yeah, they just Dismember one of the Souls tokens and get in there too. I'm dead. Okay. Well, this is also a matchup where the LD is not particularly good because our opponent operates on such a low base of resources. So I'm going to bring in Ultimate Price, Damnation. We really just want removal. I don't think the Zenith is good, though, because their creatures are generally pretty big. Purge should be good. Well, even Mind Sensor is probably good. When I say removal, it's not good. It's probably Fulminator Mage. Okay. And yeah, and Pox is good, too. How good is Death Cloud? Well, the one Death Cloud's probably good. Maybe Mind Sensor is weak just because they're already going to have enough lands in play. So I only have to cut 1 card from here. Could also just be a discard spell. Yeah, I could see these being a liability too. I can also consider Suppression Field and Banishing Light, but I think they're too slow. I have a good amount of removal between Pox, Fatal Push, Slaughter Pact, Liliana, and now these 3, so I don't think I need more. This seems a little slow. Maybe it's okay on the play, but no. That kind of feels like a Fulminator Mage to me, and one that's bad to top deck later that I really need early. So I'm fine with this. Minimal sideboarding. Yeah, really wish I had just played that straight up, but... You know, I thought in most matchups, I would have liked my line, but this is a really unique deck, the Death Shadow aggro deck. Another awkward 7 here. Tech Edge Fetid Heath does not make any colored mana. Yeah, I don't think I can reasonably keep this. Let's send it back. Sand seems fine. It'll definitely punish them if they just start on a creature, so yeah. And I like Fatal Push a lot, so we'll top that one. And if our opponent starts on a discard spell here, they're going to have a hard time choosing between Smallpox and Dark Confidant, I would assume. Okay. See what land they decide to start on here. I imagine Blood Crypt is pretty common unless you're turn 1 Wild and Coddle. Yeah. Overgrown Tomb, okay. Yeah. And they start on Thoughtseize again. So, whichever one they take between these two, I highly doubt they take Lingering Souls. I would certainly love it. Okay. This to me suggests that they are... they want to protect a creature, so this Fatal Push should be good. Let's run our Dark Confidant out and force a removal spell. And then if they are forced to use a removal spell this turn, unless they also have like a Death Shadow with it, we'll be able to Souls onto an empty board, then next turn Flashback Souls, push whatever they play the next turn. So this got shot. Oh no, oh, Cycle Street Wraith, okay. I just saw their life total move. I thought they were paying costs for something. And yeah, I guess they were paying costs for something, but didn't notice the Wraith in the graveyard yet. So now they could very easily play Death Shadow. 2 fetches, Thoughtseize, 3 Wraith is pretty ideal. They'll play it as a 3/3. Death Shadow plus Bolt my Dark Confidant, or just removal spell for Bob, is what I do not want to see. Okay, that's fine. They got a Fatal Push or a Dismember. Dismember will make it really hard to race this Lingering Souls. Yeah, gonna take this attack. They've dealt themselves a lot of damage. Will I also... yeah. So that is one of the more expensive cards in my deck. Oh, I guess I revealed the ultimate price, didn't I? Because I'm at 17. Okay. So they know about ultimate price, which is fine. Kind of wondering what's in their hand that they couldn't use this mana on either a creature or a removal spell or a discard spell. What else is in their deck? What are they waiting for? Even though they're at a pretty low life total and I have this Lingering Souls that I can pressure them with, I'm inclined to just keep their creatures off the battlefield. So let's just Liliana them. Next turn, we might be able to plus discard the Souls, flash it back, and Fatal Push, something like that. But as long as I'm drawing a bunch of extra cards with Dark Confidant, there's no need for me to be overly aggressive. Step Links. I guess they could have had another Swift Spear there to deal with the Liliana, but that would have been fine. This Bauble, okay. Not really sure why they had 2 Baubles and didn't play either of them last turn against the Swift Spear. But, you know, that is not my pay grade. So they're down to 3 cards. Let's start with a plus here. We are incredibly far ahead. Looks like they might have just fetched awkwardly, so they couldn't double spell with Steplink Swift Spear because of the way they did their land sequencing. I imagine they drew the Steplinks that turn, which means they had 2 Baubles and didn't want to pop the Swift Spear or Cantrip the previous turn. Were they worried about a blocker? I bet they have an extra land that they didn't play because of this Liliana. Okay, they had Battle Rage. That also makes sense. Maybe they want to save an extra lands for the Steplinks, but they don't have ultimate price. Oh. They saw me reveal this Flagstone, so they don't know about the Dark... They don't know either card in my hand. Dark Confidant or Push. But I will continue the beatdowns. I have answers to 2 creatures already. with Fatal Push and Liliana. And I guess with Liliana in play, maybe it's best for me to empty my hand. I'm like worried about like Forked Bolt or something. I don't know. I'll empty my hand. I'll play straight up again. Get the second Dark Confidant onto the battlefield. I imagine we'll see some of these baubles popped as they dig for whatever they need. Target me. Probably should have used one on upkeep or something or after the Dark Confidant trigger, so they would know what my draw step was. Didn't matter. I would have shouted to them that turn, but still could have potentially mattered. I do have 5 cards here, but it's going to be hard for them to deploy them because their lands cost so much life. Like maybe they have a forest or a mountain here. You know, this Bobble's not going to be a card until next turn. Okay, well, no card that affects the battlefield at all. And I assume no removal because they let me untap with both these Dark Confidants. Dark Confidant being friendly to my life total here, revealing multiple... it revealed the Inquisition. It's weird that it puts the revealed card over here after putting it here. So the one card for my draw step is in the middle somehow. So they know about the Shambling Vent. Let's just see what's going on over there. Okay, well they drew 3 Temur Battle Rages. That is a lot. I guess I will take the Mutagenic Growth. A very weak draw from our opponent. Play this event, plus this. So that'll get rid of 1 Battle Rage. And they'll be left with 2 draws here to try to get out of this, and seems difficult for them to do that. Attack you for 4. And flashback the souls. I now have 5 attackers. If they crack the fetch, they're all lethal. I assume they bobbled them. Oh, they bobbled me. Kind of thought they would bobble himself with the fetch land in play, but maybe they really don't want to crack it because of these souls tokens. And I imagine we will get the concession right here. Yep. So an astonishingly weak draw from our opponent, drawing 3 copies of Temur Battle Rage. Only 2 creatures that we easily dealt with, even through the Thoughtseize, just found multiple removal spells, and they never had a removal spell for a turn 2 Dark Confidant. Pretty classic Magic there. You know, still a card you have to kill, otherwise it'll take over the game. Just a card that's gotten easier to kill over the years. Do I want to make any changes? I don't think so. I didn't see anything that made me want to change. I have all my instant speed removal in. I'm a little surprised that they kept in so many Battle Rages, but I guess that's what their deck does. And I have as many answers for it as I can. So, running it back. See if we can't land a devastating Smallpox this time, instead of having it get taken by a discard spell. But definitely worse on the draw when you can't nab their first land drop with it. Okay, hand looks pretty good. We have just some removal spells to keep the board clean, and then Planeswalkers to gain card advantage once we do so. So should be difficult for our opponent to pressure us, unless they really rip our hand apart with discard spells early. They keep 7. We'll see if they start on Thoughtseize like they have the first 2 games. It's definitely a game where I would like them to start on a creature. Okay. Potential for a very early Death Shadow here. Another fetch land will do it next turn. start on Sacred Foundry, so no discard spell, probably a Swift Spear or a Step Links. Okay. Is there a reason for me to do anything other than push now? I guess I'll wait and like, force them to crack the fetch if they have it. I guess if they like, don't have it, they kept a one-lander. I don't have to worry about this right now. But I do like having this as the target for push because Purge deals with most of the rest. I guess Purge still loses to Nakatl. But it gets Swift Spear and Death Shadow, which are the most important threats. Okay. They've gotten this combination of lands multiple times now. I think that might suggest that they have gold cards that they cast at this combination and not the others. Maybe something like Dreadbore out of the sideboard. Maybe a Tarkus Command. Not sure. Okay, so no Swift Spear. Guess I will just push this thing, protect my life total. No need to get a Godless Shrine there. I've got 2 dual lands. My mana is going to be perfect. So nice mana base here, only dealing myself 1 damage. Oh, jeez. Well, that was the reason to push on my turn. Did not think they had a protection spell in this version of the deck. Okay, well, heavily punished. I drew an ultimate price though, so that helps. Hopefully they don't have like Blossoming Defense too. But Step Link's getting that 4 damage in is pretty important for it. It usually doesn't attack more than twice. So that's about half of what it could do. Thing is, they didn't follow up with another creature at all. Okay. No Escalate here. They're just duressing, so they'll get the Purge. But I'm going to be able to play Liliana of the Veil here and bump it up. And then set up Sorin for the next turn, make a 2/2. It's going to be pretty hard for them to land anything. I guess I can overload the Liliana. Once it gets to 4 and I have a blocker down, that's hard to do. You have to figure if they had Death Shadow, they would have done that. Especially if they have a land. I think that's what they're thinking about now, whether or not they want to play a land or ditch it to Liliana and play that game. They can definitely survive on 2 mana. But so far, all we've done is trade 1-for-1 3 times, which is what my deck wants to do. Okay, looks like they're going to play a creature and force me to -2. No. They already have 3 lands in play. I assume they're going to discard extra lands to the Liliana, so I'm going to actually discard this Mind Sensor because I really want 4th land for Sorin. But they're now going to be down to 2 cards. And I am liking this. Probably a 4th land here that they have to discard, a little flooded on their end. I guess if they had a 4th land, they might have Brutality'd with it, though. No, they discard a Battle Rage. Kind of happy to see that. I'm a little worried about some weird combo with Swift Spear, Battle Rage, and Mutagenic Growth, but they're pretty low on resources to be able to pull off a combo like that. And if there's just those 3 cards, which is the number they have now, that's, what, 10 damage? Not enough to be threatening. Okay, do we have a second creature? No, just running a creature into Liliana? That seems strange. I mean, at least if you force me to +1, I'm losing cards too. Then you can run out, like, hopefully find a second creature to run out with it. I'm playing... I guess I honestly thought these were the same when I was playing them because they look so similar. But actually I think getting the Lord of Innistrad out is better. So we'll play Solemn Visitor next turn. They have a Lightning Bolt. Okay, I guess that makes sense if they had the Bolt, but they are now down to 1 card. I'm going to have 2 Planeswalkers doing their thing. No more creatures. That's a good sign. So we can continue to... This is destroy up to... Yeah. So definitely do that. Do I want a -2 and expose the Solemn Visitor to a Lightning Bolt, or just keep plussing it? I kind of want to just keep plussing it, because both emblems are pretty valuable. And I have creature generation from the other Sorin. This is a little more conservative of a play, but I think a fine one still. I guess making flyers will be helpful against a Death Shadow, which is going to get big as I'm sort of chip-shotting them. Okay. Death Shadow could make things awkward. I guess we'll Thoughtseize them before deciding what to do. If they have a Bolt, they'll probably just aim it at a Vampire token. Yeah, it's a pump spell. That makes sense too. So now we know they have no hand, and I think I can start getting a little bit more aggressive with these. Let's get an emblem down to pump my team, and a flyer to start pressuring. And that's a 3/3. They're 10. They're gonna. I don't think they want to shock themselves here. Well, I guess they do. They can't attack, otherwise they're dead. Okay, who are? They're attacking me. This just kills them. They can make this thing an 8/8 and bring me to 7. But, well, this is an awkward play to end the match. I was very far ahead regardless, but I'm just not sure what's going on there. Let's deal max damage, though. Another emblem, plus my team. Lifelink, too. I guess they were, yeah, because they shocked, they were dead. If they leave themselves at 10, then this attack is only for 9. Granted, I'm going to be at 15 plus 13, so I'll be at 28. They'll go to 1. I'll lose a vampire. And this thing will be at 12/12. But I'll be at I would be at 25, so I wouldn't die to Battle Rage. Yeah, so I could just make that play and say, do your worst. I guess if at that point they drew some sweeper, I would be screwed because they would sweep my vampires, attack, kill 1 planeswalker, and I'd just be left with the other one. I guess either could make chump blockers, but I'd be on chump blocking duty almost. I would have probably made a more conservative line, but that still would have killed them the next turn. Not really sure what to say about that last game. Definitely made a mistake there playing into the Faith Shield, although I think I think I would have just ended up having the Purge later in the game, and they would have had the Shield, but I would have Thoughtseized them. So I would have been able to leave them with the Become a Man, so then Purge this Death Shadow, and that would have been better, and I would have had 4 more life. So yeah, definitely a mistake, and it would have made the end game a little bit easier. But really, just had a good hand there against what they were doing, even though they were on the play. I think the key was turns 2 and 3. They were unable to put any other pressure on the battlefield. They traded Faith Shield with the removal spell. Then I killed Step Links. Then they cast Collective Brutality. And in none of those plays, on none of those turns did they gain any traction. So the game just stalled out, and I just played Planeswalkers that their deck has a real hard time dealing with. And especially Liliana of the Veil, Planeswalker that like removed their next creature. Like they traded Death Shadow and Bolt for it. And then it's just so hard. At that point, they're sort of forced to try to set up a combo, which is so hard to do between Liliana making them discard a Battle Rage and Thoughtseize taking them to become immense and just take all the combo pieces. I think maybe they could have not played the Stomping Ground and ditched that to the Liliana, but I'm not sure what their hand looked like. Um, and if they didn't have the answer to it, maybe they had something to draw on 3 mana to help them against Liliana. If they didn't have one half of Death Shadow or Bolt, so I'm sure there was a method to their madness here, but it certainly did not play out very well. Maybe if they hold a bunch of lands and then kill the Liliana, they have an extra resource or something in hand, and then being left with the Death Shadow because of my mistake might have made things a little stickier for me. But instead, I'm able to run away with some sweet Planeswalkers in Game 3. Unfortunately, unable to really demonstrate the land destruction capability of this version of the deck. I guess we did Fulminator Mage in Game 1, but it wasn't that relevant. Though the power of Smallpox was on display, our opponent took it with their turn 1 Thoughtseize both times they had the opportunity to. So, and it would have been incredible both times had I kept it. Smallpox in that Game 1 would have easily just won the game with our opponent keeping the 1-lander. I guess they did draw a land, but that they didn't know they were going to do that. This seems like a matchup where my density of removal is just going to be really, and discard spells is going to be really good against them trying to set up a creature-based combo. And then they don't really have good answers to the Planeswalkers. And that definitely played out in Game 3. I just killed their stuff early, be conservative, protect my life total, and eventually the Planeswalkers take over. And I went turn 3 Liliana, turn 4 Sorin, turn 5 Sorin, and they took over pretty easily. So hope you enjoyed watching that one, and you can come back and see me on Monday. Bye.